All right, yes. So things are looking all right for the stream today. We are at 5% CPU. Why so high, you ask? Well, stay tuned and find out. Can't get the prompter running today,
No, it's working.
and a production clock.
Oh yeah, I shut that off. I was doing some screen stuff and I wanted to get rid of it.
So we have no production clock today.
Nope. There we go. Should be right now.
All right, we're going to run to the pre-show in a couple of minutes, which is just our amazing montage
You can
video.
have a look at the chat, see if anybody's actually.
Yeah, I was just looking at it before. It's all in there, good levels and
Okay.
so on.
All right, we're a little bit underprepared, but hey, what's a live show without being underprepared? I think it's one of the prerequisites of doing a live show, to be honest.
So yes, giving away a shirt today. So
I should probably embed this on Facebook via the YouTube embed, but I don't quite know where that's set up.
all right, well, I think we're good to go. We're going to run to the amazing montage countdown, and we'll be back on the show in just a few minutes' time. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the Vmix Fun Time Live Show January edition. This show is all about live streaming and in particular Vmix, which is software for the PC that allows you to do amazing productions for YouTube, Facebook, anywhere where you can stream live. So what's going on the show today, Tim?
We have an action-packed show today, probably. We're going to be talking about some minor updates to Vmix 20 or major updates. I don't know, depends what you class them as. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be just chatting about a new Ruby reference system that we have, and we're also going to be talking about NAB, and we're also giving away a t-shirt in the post-show as well. So if you've entered that one, stick around and we'll do it as soon as the show finishes. And remember, you have to be here to win the shirt. Now, we also have a pre-recorded interview with Dr. Andrew Cross, the CTO of NewTek. So that's pretty cool. It's a little bit of a long interview, so we're going to play that through. So that will be coming up a bit later on. He shares some pretty cool insights on NDI, you know how it was developed, where it came from, and their kind of overall philosophy about IP video. So stay tuned for that one. Now, as we do with all of our shows, we like to show you exactly what we've got set up. So we're going to show you that now. Martin's going to go through and explain it.
Yes, this is an all NDI production yet again this month. We did it last month and it went so well, we've done it again. The audio is powered by a USB Behringer UMC 404 audio interface with our wireless mic packs. No real changes there. Tim's controlling everything from the X Keys 124. He's got an iPad where he's running the prompter, and he's got the Samsung Galaxy Tab where he's keeping an eye on the chat using Vmix Social. But the cameras are what everybody's excited about this month. We have the Bird Dog Studio with our central DVX 200 camera. We have the NewTek PTZ-1 camera that we showcased last month. We have the PTZ Optics camera with the NDI beta firmware. And last but not least, we have the Panasonic AWHE40 with NDI. This is our trusty Panasonic PTZ camera we've had ever since we've started the live show. This was our central camera many years ago when we first started this live show, and now we've installed the NDI update for it, and it's an NDI HX camera, and there you go. So all on the network, power over Ethernet. It's single cable control video, even has a built-in tally light on it that works automatically with NDI. So the red light on the front goes red whenever it's live, and that's how I knew to look at that camera this month. No confusing racing around figuring out which camera is live. So anyway, enough about that. Everything is being put into our production PC. This is a reference system we call Obsidian, and it's designed for 4K. We did it for our 4K 60 production. We're just running it in HD today, streaming to YouTube at 4.5 megabits per second, 29.97p, YouTube Live. It's been working well for us. Even if you can't watch the HD stream, YouTube transcodes in everything in between. So that is our setup today. So today is all MDI show, as I mentioned. The Panasonic camera is our new entrance to the setup. We'll be talking about some of the NDI updates a little bit later on in the show, including NDI 3. So stay tuned for that. But now our special guest is going to talk a little bit more about NDI, and Tim's going to introduce him.
Yes, so I was lucky enough to talk to Dr. Andrew Cross yesterday about NDI, just kind of where it's come from, their general philosophy and ethos behind NDI, IP video, and that kind of thing. So first of all, I must preface by saying I was extremely nervous interviewing it. So I think I thanked him for coming on the show or interviewing about 5 times. So I thought I was having some technical difficulties as well. So if I look a little bit nervous, that's why. So it's a little bit of a long interview. So it's provides a really great insight into what Andrew is trying to do at NewTek with NDI. So if you'd like to sit back, and here's our recorded interview from yesterday. Okay, so we have a very special guest today. We have the CTO of NewTek, Dr. Andrew Cross, joining us, and he's going to be talking a little bit about NDI and NDI 3. So thanks for joining us today, Andrew.
It's my pleasure. We are so happy with what Vmix are doing with NDI. It's really an honor to be here.
Oh, that's great to hear. So I remember first hearing about NDI. I was at home in our office. Martin had just been to IBC and he came into my office and he said, NDI, we're doing this thing called NDI. We're going to incorporate NDI, NDI, NDI. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. He kind of gave me a really brief overview and I went back to work thinking, okay, that's great and all. But he obviously got to working on it, and it's come a long way since then, and we're very excited about it here at Vmix. How have you felt the uptake has been across the industry with NDI?
Gosh, it is so far exceeded what we had ever expected that honestly, I'm blown away by the uptick, and I wish I could say, that we had some amazing foresight and could see this happening, but I think that it's far exceeded what we would possibly imagined. I mean, today there are tens of millions of people using NDI out there, and I'm not exaggerating that. There are single applications with 10 million users out there. And when you think about it, there's probably not 10 million SDI capture cards in the world. So within a period of about, 2.5 years now, we already have more people with NDI connections, if you will, than there are people with SDI connections. And so if you told me that 2 years ago, I wouldn't have believed it. So, gosh, this has been quite something. I cannot, hugely surprised is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, it's been. I agree. It's been great to see the growth of it. Across. Even just visiting trade shows. Seeing press releases. It seems as though there's a new press release regarding NDI pretty much every day with somebody, taking it on board or adding new features to it and that sort of thing. So it's been incredible to watch, and it's really good to have been on board from day one. It kind of allows us to grow with all the different products and stuff as well. Now I'm sure that you've probably done this a lot. But we thought that seeing as you're on the show, we should probably get you as the creator of NDI to actually explain to our audience what NDI was. Now, I was going to probably get you to do something more exciting like wrap it or something, just to make it a little bit more exciting for you. But I've decided to just let you explain it in your own words.
I don't think that I've got an English accent. I'm not sure that you can rap with an English accent. I'm not quite sure. England isn't known for its rap artists. So
that's true.
I'm going to probably get some hate mail for saying that, aren't I? Yeah. I get asked a lot what NDI is, and there are a lot of complicated explanations, but this is the best way I could describe what it is. NewTek, we're a software company, just like Vmix. I mean, I think that between us, we're probably the two of the companies that have pushed this idea that software can be used for real-time video, to replace real-time video equipment more than anybody else. And so what NDI is what happens when a bunch of software engineers look at an SDI connection, an SDI wire, and say, how can we implement that in software? And this has really been our goal from day one. I think that NewTek, and I believe yourselves, we all see a future in which TV and web streams and video production are all done using computers, and that every part of it is going to be a computer. Look, it's happened in every other industry there is out there. And all of them have moved to IP eventually. I mean, phones used to be an analog connection that you picked up, and now it's all basically IP based. And the same thing is going to happen to video. And so what we set out to do was to think, how can we make it easy for all these software applications to talk to each other via IP video? And how can we make that easy, cheap, and quick for all the other application vendors? Because we want somebody to do that for us. And so we set out to do it. And we set out to make it so that anybody who wants to produce video on a computer, they didn't need to have capture cards, they didn't need expensive Ethernet connections, they didn't need to think about SDI or any of the connectivity. They could just write software applications that can talk video. And we've always, even though we've grown quite a bit, the reality is that we still see ourselves as the guy in the basement having cool ideas and wanting to go out and try them. And so, kind of our vision is, We want to enable the small guys. We want to enable anybody with a cool idea about video to go and create a cool application that can do that and not have other pieces get in the way. And that's why we created NDI, and that's what it is, and that's the spirit I hope that it will remain true to as it gets used more and more.
Awesome. Yeah, so I mean, that's a great explanation. Wrapped or not wrapped, that's what, we're so excited about it as well. Giving everybody that opportunity to be able to, send video over IP. I mean, I think it's going to open up so many more opportunities for so many more people. Now, with NDI, there's been a few different iterations of NDI, and we're currently at NDI 3. Can you go through some of the, top tier features of NDI 3 and all the latest upgrades to NDI where we are today?
Of course. So first of all, I should say, I think it's so easy for us all to focus on the big features in any like NDI 3 versus NDI 2. But in reality, the real hard work is in all the small little pieces that get added, because NDI has been out there in the real world for 2.5, 3 years now, and not a day goes by where someone doesn't email me about some convoluted network with something that we had not anticipated. And so we go and make changes to that. And I know Martin should take huge credit for having given me, he Skyped me a bunch of little problems, all of which are totally legitimate, and each one makes NDI that little bit better. And so, I think that is everything we do that's important. We want to make this get better, and we've got 3 years worth of having messed stuff up the first time round and get it right the second time and better the third time. And so that, that we shouldn't underestimate that. And my head is off to Martin, who's been he's been instrumental in helping make this happen. And I can't talk about NDI 3 without saying that. Now, on top of that, obviously, we did add a couple of major things. We added multicast support to NDI 3, which is important. If you are producing a 4K signal, which does fit down a gigabit Ethernet connection, and you want to distribute it to 1,000 people in your company or 50 people in your company, it allows you to do that without needing massive amounts of bandwidth that are just unrealistic to the 99th percentile of people out there. And so multicast was big. We also introduced NDI-HX, which is important because while there are a lot of people who are using wired connections, one of the big growth areas when you think about it has been in wireless connections. I don't know a company where I go with my laptop now where I take an Ethernet connection and plug it into it. The reality is that a huge part of the world has gone wireless. Wireless is growing. And we need to start thinking about IP isn't just about 10 gig connections or even about 1 gig connections. It's also about wireless connections. And that's one of the big things about NDI-HX and making that part of NDI. And I can't not see that being an area that is going to grow dramatically over time. Yeah,
that's fair enough. Again, thanks for being here. I should have, I really do appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us about NDI and what the latest advances are. Do you have any clues or hints as to what might be coming out in NDI in the future, or what do you want to see in the future in regards to NDI itself or new products and that type of thing? Do you think we'll see NDI cameras, not just NDI-HX, but NDI cameras and NDI products? Tell me what you think, what's your vision for the future of NDI?
Okay, so first of all, I think that, obviously NDI, and we really shouldn't understate this, the fact that you can buy a camera today that on a IP network, you can plug in and works is almost crazy. I mean, I think that, when you compare it to a lot of the other IP connectivity standards out there, it's all too easy to not think that you can go to Panasonic or to PTZ Optics or to us at NewTek, with more companies coming soon. You can buy the camera, put it on a network, and use it with hundreds of applications today with almost no configuration. That is huge, and has really been the holy grail in many ways of video and IP for a very long time. So having achieved that just this year with NDI is a huge step forwards. In terms of where it's going, I mean, there's no doubt that we're going to see more devices. I mean, there's great products like Bird Dog now shipping Awesome product. And you know, I expect to see more products like that, and I don't want to speculate completely on what they are, but it's unimaginable that there won't be lots more products doing lots more things like that very soon. And I think making it available to more people, making it easier, making it faster. You know, that there are areas of technology like HDR that, you know, I've already publicly said that we're going to build into NDI. And quite frankly, we have, because NDI is primarily a software-based, as I said, it's what happens when a software engineer looks at something. We don't have to bring along a lot of the legacy that came with how a lot of other people are doing HDR. And there are ways for us, for instance, to do this properly where a lot of other, you know, the other ways of doing it aren't. They're trying to build HDR on top of SDI. And while that's great, SDI was never originally designed for this. And so we get to do a lot of things right that others might not. And so, you know, things like that are definitely where we're going. And the moment you're talking about things like HDR, you're opening up all sorts of other opportunities that we're not even thinking of at the moment, like passing ZDepth data around for game streaming and things like this that are going to be probably big and things that we will look back at and think, wow, how did that happen? And will change a lot in video.
Right, yeah. Awesome. I have a personal question. What's your proudest accomplishment so far with NDI?
That I think that is easy. My and I believe NewTek's proudest accomplishment is I believe that, you know, our goal at the end of the day is, you know, we run a company, but we try to, you know, we want to innovate, we want to push things forwards, and leaving our mark on the industry. At the end of the day, we want to be, you know, I think everybody, I think yourselves, ourselves, everybody, we want to be remembered for having done something that makes a difference for other people and makes a difference for the industry.
Yep.
And I believe that we're at that point where NDI has done that. It's hard to imagine how it's just going to go away. And I know of certain huge things that are about to happen that I can just say, watch this space. You know, I'm under non-disclosure on probably, you know, I'd get immediately, I'd be disappeared if I talked about them. But there were some really big things coming, and so I you know, yeah. My proudest accomplishment is that I think that you know, we're going to leave something that hopefully enables a lot of new creative ways to do video and really help move, you know, make it easier for people to create video and go out there and do things that are original and interesting and produce shows where they couldn't have done it before. And that's why NewTek was created. I think that Vmix are very similar. You have much the same vision, and so that's why I'm so happy to be talking to you guys. And I think that, you know, so that's what will make me happy when that's happened.
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely on the way there. I mean, I know that a lot of people that use, you know, different software encoders and software and everything across live video production have already been able to do productions and do things that they would not have been able to do a year ago or 2 years ago. So I think it's definitely on the track to, you know, creating a whole new world for live video. So yeah, so I mean, thanks for joining us today. I did have one last question. If I was to bring my laptop to NewTek headquarters and plugged into the local network, how many NDI sources would I see across my computer? Like how many things could I access directly from my laptop?
That's pretty easy. It's about 200, I believe, as of now. It
right.
might be a bit
Awesome.
a bit higher than that. You know, I'll tell you something. You know, for me, it was actually Christmas 3 years ago. We had been working on NDI, and we decided that we were going to release it. And I was sitting. It was really late, and I was going to be in trouble with my wife because I was still at work. But I get excited about stuff, probably just like you, just like Martin. And I was here, and I ran the first version of the software in which suddenly all these sources showed up. And it was amazing because I had about, at that time, it was probably only about 100 sources. But there were about 100 sources on the network. And I didn't have a single SDI cable hooked into my machine. And it just felt so unbelievable that I was sitting there with 100 sources available to me, not a single SDI cable, and I could never get 100 SDI cables onto my machine if I wanted. I actually remember I sat back on my chair and I took a photo of the screen running it, and I texted it to Tim Jennison, who is the owner of NewTek, and this was late one Friday evening, just before Christmas, and I said, Tim, this is going to be what the future of video is. I still remember that so clearly. And this idea that there were 100 sources there,
Awesome.
there was no SDI anywhere, and so I still remember that. That was exciting.
That's very cool. All right, well, thanks for joining us today. I'll let you go. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but we really appreciate you coming in and chatting on our show, and I'm sure everybody that's watching appreciates your insight and everything. So keep up the great work with NDI. As you know, we're pretty big fans of it here at Vmix. So yeah, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you at NAB, I assume.
I'm sure we will be there, and thank you for inviting me. And you know, thanks to Vmix, you guys are awesome. You're doing great stuff out there, and we're really happy to be working with you.
So that was Dr. Andrew Cross, the CTO and president of NewTek, just sharing his thoughts on NDI. I found it very interesting. You know, big possibilities of things that are coming out soon, and just the future of things that we're going to see with NDI. Now, I'm actually using, this is the NDI PTZ1 camera right here. So everything has kind of come full circle from the development of NDI to now NDI products. So we think it's very cool, and I'm going to thank Andrew yet again for coming on the show. And yeah, so that was Dr. Andrew Cross. Now we're going to talk about something a bit different.
Well, this camera, right. So not really all that different. We're going to be talking about the latest in Vmix 20.51. This is a dot update for Vmix 20, but there's a lot of exciting stuff, and we're releasing this today. First of all, you know, coincidentally enough, the latest NDI 3 release is going to be included in this update. We talked about it in last month's show. We've just been tweaking it. So this is the very latest version of NDI 3. NDI 3 was probably announced a while ago now, perhaps even NAB last year, but there have been a lot of little tweaks and improvements along the way that Andrew mentioned during the interview that we have been working with NewTek about, providing bug reports, things like that, and now we are ready to release it in Vmix. So you'll be getting that update today with NDI 3. Now, what is in NDI 3, you might ask? Well, it has multicast support. It's a primary new feature, but there's a couple of other new things that provide a couple of additional features when working with NDI HX sources. So there's a new right-click menu option now for NDI sources that are HX called Configure Source, and that's a quick way that automatically opens up the browser interface for these HX cameras. And that browser interface usually provides additional controls such as tweaking the color settings, white balance, things like that. So it's a really quick and easy way to access that. The next right-click menu is for starting and stopping recording. So these HX cameras can actually be, without any CPU usage, recorded in MP4 format. And these start and stop menu options in the right-click menu allow you to do that within Vmix. It'll automatically save the video in the same quality as the camera is sending, without recompression, without any CPU usage, to the recording folder that Vmix uses.
So do you mean that we could actually use this camera and
record
this directly from the camera via
That's
NDI
right.
HX?
So this is a HX camera. The Panasonic camera has been converted to HX. So I could right-click this input in Vmix and start and stop the recording. There are shortcuts to do that as well. And last but not least in NDI 3 is much improved performance and quality, especially for 4K sources. So I did a lot of testing in our 4K show with NDI, and we submitted some feedback to NewTek, and they were really great in helping us out in improving the performance of 4K. So if you're interested in doing in 4K with NDI, you'll be able to use more inputs with the same CPU power as before, and there's also a lot of improvements with the quality as well. So that is all the really great stuff in NDI 3, but this dot update of Vmix 20 doesn't stop there. We have a bunch of new updates that we're going to be including with it. There's new shortcuts. There is support for RGB in instant replay, so that's great for capture cards that are capturing games and things like that previously couldn't be used with instant replay, now can be used. We have brand new Vmix social templates just like the one we're going to be using in our Q&A section. We also have updated the web browser input in Vmix. It uses a much more recent version of Chrome behind the scenes and supports new web-based widgets out there, such as the ones from Discord. So if you don't know about Discord, it's all about chat and audio communication for gamers, but it can also be used as a great communication tool for your team or for your show. And the widgets that they provide are web widgets that can either show the audio of the chat or the chat itself, and then you can embed that into Vmix. So the latest browser update in Vmix will allow you to bring in sites like that. There's been a few other bug fixes and optimizations and improvements across the board, but those are the major headline features that we're releasing in this Vmix 20.update today.
So that is the latest for Vmix. Now you might have noticed, if you're constantly refreshing our website, we added some new specifications for our Ruby build. So just due to the fact that the motherboard and the different parts were getting harder to find, we've updated that with some new specs. So I'm going to show you that now. This is what we've got. I believe this is right. I hope I copied this down correctly. So we've got the i7 8700K, the 1060 RAM. We've changed out the SSD to an M.2 drive just for speed and reliability. Yeah, so that's what we've got for our Ruby reference system. You can see that on our website, or you can get one of our lovely resellers to build you one if you like. So that is our new Ruby reference system for our website. Now, did you want to talk about the performance at all with this one, or not?
So
particularly?
it's the latest generation components. It has a 6-core i7 processor that's brand new for the mainstream platform. The previous one, which I believe was a 700K, was just 4-core. But the 7700K had a higher clock speed. So it had less cores but higher clock speed. This is more cores but lower clock speed. So what does that mean for Vmix users? Well, it means it's slightly faster overall, but pretty much the same. So this system has more cores, which can provide more flexibility with things such as NDI sources, but performance-wise, it's much the same as the Ruby system before. So if you're worried about what the performance specs might mean for you, particularly with the gigahertz rating on the CPU, don't worry, it is at the very least a little bit faster. So that's it on the performance front.
Hey, so NAB is not that far away. I want to say it is, was it April, early April? So what's the date today?
It's 10 weeks away, well,
All right,
11 weeks away
11
for everybody else.
weeks away. So we'll be there again. I think we're in 4620. That kind of rings a bell. We're in the same, South Lower Hall, we're in the same area that we were last year. So I think that rings a bell to be the correct booth number, which I should have checked out. We'll be there. We'll have workstations again, so you can come and try out all the latest things with Vmix. Maybe there'll be new features there you can try out. Maybe there won't be. Who's to say? We will have free mouse pads, obviously, because, you know, what's a trade show without free mouse pads? You can come and meet your favorite Vmix personalities like Barton. I'll be there as well, you know, just as an offshoot. We'll have a couple of other Vmix regulars that will be there to help out. So yeah, if you want to come along, Las Vegas, start booking now because everything sells up pretty quickly. So we're excited to see what might be announced at NAB. Like as Andrew alluded to in my interview, that there's very big things coming for NDI. I don't know, I have no idea what that is. He didn't tell me anything, but the way that he described it on the video makes me believe it's something fairly exciting. So there might be some releases at NAB. We really don't know, so we'll have to wait and see. So we're pretty excited about that. So join us for NAB if you like. Yeah, we won't have any live streams from there, but there'll be plenty of things going on. We'll probably have a daily giveaway, and we've got probably an exciting competition for those that can't come to NAB. So we usually give away registration keys for people that are going to the trade show booth, but this year we've worked out a way to give away a registration key for those people that can't make it. So keep your eye out for that. Everybody can enter. It's going to be pretty fun and exciting.
So, you know, previous features in Vmix. Vmix has supported for many years now 4K, and it also has full support for 4K with NDI. So we've actually been producing 4K shows on and off for our monthly live show for a while now. We did one in 2016. I believe was the first 4K show. We did that in 4K 30, and then we went all out, pushed things to the max, and just last year, at the end of 2017, we did another 4K show in 4K 60 using multiple 4K 60 cameras. We streamed in 4K 60, we recorded in 4K 60. It was a crazy show, primarily because Tim spent months editing these videos in 4K in Adobe Premiere to bring into the production. So that was the hard part. It was easy once we had all the material to chuck it all in Vmix. So 4K is available in Vmix, and even if you don't want to stream in 4K, there are a lot of benefits to 4K, such as having a single 4K camera on your entire field if you're doing sports streaming, and then you could crop that using the various virtual inputs in Vmix, and you can merge between them and make it look like camera pans.
It's also great for panel interviews as well.
Well, that's right. You could have a whole, you know, like the panel interviews that they have, like the NFL, where they have this long table with these people in front of these microphones. You could just have a wide shot of that with 4K and create a crop for each of the individual speakers. So that is 4K support in Vmix.
So
been there for a long time.
That's our old feature review. Now, with the latest updates with NDI and Vmix in .51, the 4K with NDI is greatly improved. So that's something very exciting as well. So you can kind of use additional computers or additional things with 4K 60 instead of using one PC for it. So yeah, that's super exciting. Now, we realized that when we make these YouTube videos and upload them to YouTube, we don't ever have a very exciting thumbnail. So we decided to create a section where we create a thumbnail and we use that as a part of the show. So that's what we're going to do now. What that is going to be, I'm not sure. So if you can strike some sort of weird pose, and that can be our terrible YouTube thumbnail for this month. So thanks for joining us on that. That was our exciting thumbnail
generator.
Yes.
So we're finally there. A slightly longer show than usual. Thanks for still tuning in. I'm sure we'll find, we look after the show, the YouTube graph that shows you how your viewers watch your live stream, and I'm sure whatever the drop off is on the show, we will cut that out of that next show. But this is the Q&A part of the show, which may be the best part or or not. It's up to you. But Tim's getting all the questions there in Vmix Social. This is the template, or one of the templates.
Well, it's similar. Yeah.
Similar to what you will have available in the Vmix updates. I think there's about 4 or 5 new templates that we're including in the update, so you can have a side panel with a chat question. So there's Amy is saying that the black t-shirt is better than the grey. Now, which one are we giving away?
I don't know. Whichever one they want.
All right. So next question.
Well, this isn't more. This is another.
Being under NDA and unable to talk about cool stuff sucks. Yeah, I hear. I've been under NDA a number of times and wanting to get the word out about what we've been working on and just haven't. But be completely honest with you guys. I don't know what this big exciting announcement is. Andrew hasn't given me any hints, so you know, I'm just as excited to find out what that is going to be as you guys. So you know, it may be NAB. I don't think he gave a time frame. It may be a bit after that, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of public announcements from various companies about NDI anyway at NAB. NDI NAB. This is a tongue twister of an episode. Any info on NDI HX support on regular cameras? Lots of cameras like Sony and JVCs have an Ethernet port and H.264 encoder. So this is by Anders. Short question is, there's no news on any of those particular cameras, but there is the Bird Dog Studio, which you can buy right now. I'm not kidding. You can go to your favorite broadcast retailer and buy the Bird Dog, and it will ship pretty much within a couple of days. So if you're looking for an easy add-on to convert your camera to NDI, that is the way to go. And you're right, there are a bunch of cameras out there that have built-in H.264 encoders. It just depends whether they can do low latency, and I think there's a few other technical requirements. And they need to get in touch with NewTek, and NewTek will probably be happy to talk with them about that. And I'm sure because of how easy it is to implement HX in a lot of these cameras, there'll be a lot more announcements about that in the coming months. Any plans to grow replay support beyond 4 sources per license? So this is from Michael Smith. We have had a lot of requests for more than 4 cameras in Vmix Replay. It all comes down to the performance. So with the new Obsidian reference PC, it is possible we could do perhaps up to 6 cameras. So now it's just a matter of prioritizing the features that we work on in Vmix, and sometime in the future we'll be able to add more camera support to replay, but no promises there. It's a very challenging technical endeavor, but it is something we know about and are currently researching. Question from Tom from Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Hi Tom, I know Vmix likes 16 gigabytes of RAM. What speed is the sweet spot? We recommend RAM-wise purchasing the speed that matches whatever the CPU recommendation is. So if you look at the Intel ARC website that tells you all the specifications about the processor, you'll see the rated memory speed for that CPU. So the 8700K, for example, I believe is 2666 megahertz. So if you get memory that is above that, or at least that, you'll get the best results. You don't need to tune the BIOS to go faster than what the CPU speed is rated for. We haven't seen much improvement, at least for Vmix, in doing that. So just make sure the minimum speed of your memory is at least what the CPU recommends, and you'll be absolutely fine. As for more than 16 gigabytes of RAM, there really isn't, for Vmix anyway, need for more than 16 gigabytes of RAM. 16 gigabytes of RAM is, the key thing to make sure is that you have dual or quad channel. So if you've got an Obsidian build, buy 4 8 gigabyte ones or 4 gigabyte chips, so you can get the 4 channels of memory. That's important for a lot of NDI sources. On the mainstream Ruby system and Sapphire, 2 chips is all you need to take advantage of the dual channel on that one. It may even be more channels than that on Obsidian coming up in the future. It's either 4 or 6 channels is coming up in the future. I can't remember which, but just make sure, check the motherboard, check the CPU, make sure you've got the same number of memory modules as channels on the motherboard for the best performance, and that they are at least the minimum speed recommended by the processor. So
I'll answer this one.
All right.
Unfortunately, at the moment, there is not a tutorial on how to do 4K into multiple inputs. I should probably make one. That's my answer to that one. So maybe keep your eye out. If anybody has any video tutorial ideas, just send us an email. And we can make it. So we've covered SRT before, but I'm sure Martin can explain it again.
So SRT is this low latency streaming under congested internet circumstances. It's usually designed for point-to-point because browsers don't support SRT. Streaming websites don't support SRT for just general broadcasting as of yet. So really it's a point-to-point solution. So what you can do is you can use the Vmix virtual outputs in software that does support SRT. You can use the Teradata products which support it. You can use the Wowser products which support it. So there's a lot of ways if you're interested in using SRT. But for general streaming, which is the majority of our customers, you don't need SRT. It's for unique use cases out in the field. Bonding, low bandwidth, high packet loss situations for transferring video back to the studio or back to the head or back to the server. So I hope that helps with regards to that. And this is from Michael Smith again. Will Vmix support the new Intel laptop chips with embedded AMD graphics? Great question. We've been looking at this announcement with interest, and we want to get a hold of one of those computers or laptops as soon as they are available so we can run some tests on it. Now, as you might know, our streaming and recording features in Vmix take advantage of NVENC, which is an NVIDIA hardware encoding technology. The recording, I believe, should work with the AMD graphics accelerator, or at least the Intel accelerated graphics. The streaming acceleration is the question mark there, but I am very interested in getting a hold of one of those laptops and testing it out. There's been a few of them announced at CES, so look forward to trying that out and providing you guys with some more information.
Now, I'll cover this one. We would love to have a native support for the Stream Deck. I email them quite regularly asking for the SDK or the API to use. At the moment, it's still fairly closed, so they kind of develop things for the different products. So if you want Stream Deck support, email them as well and let them know your interest. So that way we can maybe get more in contact with them and be able to have Stream Deck support in Vmix, because we think we could do some pretty cool stuff with it. So that's just, yeah, get onto that.
More questions. What is the best live title graphics solution for Vmix? So the one that we have integration for with NDI is the New Blue Title Alive. They've got 4 different options. There's a sports option, there's a social option, there's a producer option, then they have complete, which has all of those 3 versions in one. And then they've got higher end broadcast versions, but any of those versions will work with Vmix using NDI. Just run it on a separate laptop. It doesn't have to be a very powerful laptop, and you've got a titling solution. But Vmix can work with any NDI graphics solution, which is pretty much all of them. Even the highest end systems from VizRT support NDI. So NDI is a great way to do, full alpha channel graphics from pretty much any software maker out there. Just ask them, do you support NDI? And it's ready to use with Vmix.
So this will be the last one. We'll answer the rest of them in the post show. But yeah, here's the last question for today.
So this is by FloobyDust41. So I like when it has the username and not the full name. They're all always interesting. Any progress on H.265 or AV1 encoding? So we are firmly in the AV1 camp because of the royalty-free nature of it and the broad support that it's going to have across browsers, graphics cards, CPUs, you name it. They're going to support AV1 when it's released. They're finalizing that. It's taking a little bit longer because they have very high expectations. They want it to be amazing, better than H.265 when it's released, and so they keep tweaking at it, and they're going to finalize it pretty soon, and then the market's going to be flooded with AV1 solutions. So we're going to be right there supporting AV1 streaming as soon as it's supported by browsers and streaming providers. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. For H.265, it's a great archival format if you want to keep bit rates down. Vmix recording with the latest NVIDIA graphics supports H.265 recording right now. It's just the streaming that we need the support in the browsers and the streaming providers for. And we believe AV1 is going to be that one.
Okay, so that's it for our question and answer time. We'll answer some more questions in the post show, and we will do the t-shirt giveaway there as well. So thanks everybody for watching today. We appreciate it. The new version of Vmix will be uploaded sometime in the next few hours. And yeah, so thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
Follow Vmix HD on all the social medias. See you next time.
And that's a wrap. This is the post show. So 45 minutes.
Yeah, sorry about the length of that one.
There's so much information. I'm sorry if I was speaking a million miles an hour.
They want you to say yes to this, but
Is multicam color matching on the to-do list? Please say yes. I can't comment. No comment.
We have a list of things. As you know, we have our feature requests forum. So if you go back in time and have a look at the ones that have been talked about the most, or +1 the most, or anything like that, like there's a fairly common thread where the ones that are the most popular, if technically possible, then they get added. So feel free to add your support to it. I know everybody's been rallying their support for their different social issues and stuff with I want this and I want that. So again, feel free to add your support on the forums. On I'm the gatekeeper of features, so don't bug Martin about it. Bug me about it. So.
And I think it's safe to say, yes, advanced color correction tools are definitely what we've been, investigating for a while now. So I said that on the forums a couple of weeks back. So if you're interested, we also have been looking at that as well.
And there's some other things on the support request forum that we occasionally reply to. So if you put a support request in there, don't just leave it and say goodbye. Add to the conversation and perhaps, reply in what sense. So some of the feature requests will be like, I want this. And it can be very broad, and it's great to want something, but without some sort of real world application for it, it's really difficult for us to say, well, why do you want that? People might read a newspaper, might read an online article about something and say, oh, that sounds cool, I want that. But if there's no real world application for live production and streaming, it makes it really difficult to implement. So, and people might say, I've seen this somewhere, is it possible? Not is it possible, but make it in Vmix, and sometimes it doesn't exist. Sometimes that feature or functionality is made up. So someone's like, it can do this or do that. So keep an eye on the support requests, and if somebody suggested something, or if you've suggested something, either provide a real world application or provide the actual documentation as to why that feature is possible. Because
yeah, and that's the key thing. We're always looking to make things easier. So if you found something in Vmix or in any product that you find is too hard, it takes too many steps to do, and you do it all the time, post that as a feature request. They're the things I'm really interested in. How can I make something faster? Because we have a lot of requests for features, but I ultimately only want to add them if they make your lives easier as live production. I don't want to make it more complicated or more convoluted. I want the simplest possible solution to help people making a great live show. So providing use cases is a great way for us to understand, but also, hey, this takes 5 clicks. Wouldn't it be great if it was just a 1-click button? Those are also the features we really want to hear about. So always looking and always researching the latest and greatest for Vmix.
Okay, so we had a thing on our Facebook page. You had to sign up to the website and answer a question to win one of the t-shirts, and you had to be watching live. So hopefully you're watching live, and hopefully you got the correct answer. So if you want to throw up the website, and we'll pick a winner for the shirt. So you need to let us know that you're here. I really don't remember how to do this. Just refresh it. I think we only had 21 entries, I believe.
21 entries.
21 total entries. So we'll go to the winners. I don't know, do you just click that?
Yep.
Yeah, just click that and see what happens.
All right, and we'll just keep drawing it until somebody in the chat claims
And if
it.
it's someone that we know that already has one. Okay.
Doug Dwyer, are you there in the chat?
Doug Dwyer. This is the first time we've done this, so Doug Dwyer, if you're there, let us know.
We'll give you a couple of minutes in the
throw
chat.
a shirt your way. I'll just throw up some more questions for you. You can't see this, but it'll be on the thing.
Any updates about the AJI 4K Plus? Funny you should mention that. We just got it shipped to us today. We're going to try it out and add support for it as soon as possible. It requires new drivers and plug-in support because it's a 4-channel 4K device, so it's quite powerful. But we've just got it today, and we're going to test it out and get it supported as soon as possible. Thanks, Frank. Says Doug in the chat.
So I remember Brian asking me this in the Netherlands. So that's what he wants. Maybe if there isn't, or if you don't already have a feature request in there for it, maybe suggest it. But you told me the best way to do this, but I can't remember.
Well, you can use the automatic audio mixing in Vmix to do it. So if you wanted a bunch of audio sources to turn on and fade in, just add them all as multi-view channels of that input. And when you fade to that input, they'll all be faded up. When you fade away from that input, they'll all be faded down. So, but yeah, we could add grouping. Add your +1 to the feature requests on the forums. So is Doug?
No, Doug doesn't seem to be here. So let's go again, I guess.
Are you sure? I want to pick somebody else. Doug, 5,
Nope, Doug's
4,
gone.
3, 2, 1. All right. Ah, names I can't pronounce. Samuel Norvik.
Is Samuel here? I do believe that's Samuel from Norway. He came to visit us in Atlanta.
So Samuel Norvik.
So Samuel, that's...
Is it a silent D? Tell us how you pronounce your name.
I'm not sure.
But if you're there in the chat,
yeah, so the
say
t-shirt
something.
giveaway was... The t-shirt giveaway was on Facebook. It's been on our forum. The link's been there for a week. So yeah, you just needed to go through that and sign up there in order to win the shirt.
It pays to subscribe to us on all the social medias.
Yes. So if anybody else has got any questions, there we go. We'll throw this one up for you.
Can 2 Decklink Duos work on a Z270 motherboard? The Decklink Duo 2, no. There's only one slot for capture cards on those motherboards because the other slots are shared by peripherals, and you really don't want to share a capture card with your peripherals. So the first by 16 slot, put your graphics card in that one. The next one along by 16 slot, you put in your capture card, and then you leave the other ports free. So if you need more than 2 capture cards, you really do need an Obsidian PC X299 or Z299.
No, X299.
Is it X299? Whatever. Yeah, so the Obsidian build is what you need for more than 1 capture card. You might be able to get away with it, but I wouldn't recommend it because you're sharing with peripherals. If you have a really fast SSD or whatever, it could cut into your capture card inputs.
We have a winner. Samuel is in the chat, so congratulations, Samuel. Somebody said he knows how to win things. He sure does. I think he won an X Keys in Atlanta. Now he's got a Vmix t-shirt. So if you want to let us know in the chat what color you want, we'll send you a grey one or a black one. It's up to you. Let us know, and we'll do that. So congratulations, Samuel. It's probably going to cost me like $150 to ship one to Norway, but it's worth it.
Because Norway, isn't it? It's literally the opposite end, the furthest you can get from us.
I think so.
Norway and Denmark are the furthest point on Earth where people are living from Australia in a straight line before you start heading back again. So, so yeah, we'll ship it to the furthest ends of the Earth.
So yeah, Samuel says you don't pronounce the D in the name, so it's
I got it right.
Samuel Norvik.
Wow, that's the first time I've pronounced any name correctly, as Tim will attest to.
So someone asked, I think George asked if, I don't know the answer to this, but he wants to buy a t-shirt. I don't know. I don't know whether anybody, I mean, do you want to buy one? I don't know.
Should we add them to the Vmix store?
We don't have a store.
We should have a store for t-shirts and see what happens.
I don't really want to be involved with that. Okay.
Because we said we were going to transition to being a all mousepad company.
Well, we could sell mouse pads and t-shirts.
Yeah,
I like giving them away for free, but if people want to pay for it, then that's cool. They're not that great quality, but you know, do the trick. Maybe we can sell them at a loss. Maybe we could loss lead t-shirts into mouse pads just to get business up for our mouse pads and stuff.
Yeah, we need a Vmix swag store. Swag is a very Australian word, but I believe
is it? That's an American.
Swagman.
Oh, that's different. Swag is different to swag, like from trade shows, free stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but swag is it is a related word.
I guess so. You know, we do. Sorry, this doesn't make any sense. I should probably just throw this up. We do have a website for hands. That's vmixhandmodels.com. So yeah, we do actually have an additional website. So having a store wouldn't be that big of a stretch. So yeah, it's funny.
I don't know why I'm on a slant here. It's like on the Titanic.
Yeah. Okay. Samuel wants a black one. So, oh, what size? we could do this via email, but why would you do it via email when you can do it to a live stream from somebody watching in Norway? No, Denmark? Norway. So,
Norway.
yeah. Yeah, there you go.
So that's a wrap of our post show. Thanks everybody for watching NDI 3 with a bunch of other browser updates and features.
So
coming up.
did you mention that there'll be a drop-down menu? So there'll be a new drop-down menu in Vmix. So if you're using something that's heavily reliant on the old web browser, because of the way that Chrome updates, they make lots of changes to it. They decide to depreciate things without telling you. So if you're using the things on the old web browser, make sure that you continue to use that one, but there'll be a drop-down menu that you'll be able to select the latest version of we can't call it Chrome, but
web browser.
Web browser.
So, and if it's saved if you've got old presets, they'll just continue using the old browser. Just makes it easy. Don't have to worry about it. So we're all about backward compatibility here at Vmix. But look out for that. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks Samuel for entering the competition and all the entrants. We might have another t-shirt giveaway next month. You don't know.
I don't know.
Whatever happens. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time for the Vmix Fun Time live show. Goodbye.
See ya.